Europe, often seen as a symbol of cultural diversity and inclusivity, isn't always as welcoming as it seems. While some countries embrace immigration and multiculturalism, others have grown increasingly resistant to outsiders, fueled by political, economic, or cultural tensions. But which European nations stand out as the least friendly to newcomers in 2025? Today, we'll uncover the 10 European countries that are the most unwelcoming in 2025 and explore what's driving their attitudes. Let's dive in and discover which nations are shutting their doors and why. Number 10. Greece. Greece, known for its stunning islands and ancient ruins, has a complicated relationship with outsiders in 2025. The country has long been a gateway for migrants and refugees entering Europe, but this influx has created significant social and economic challenges. According to UNHCR, Greece remains a key entry point for asylum seekers from the Middle East and Africa. However, overcrowded refugee camps and strained public services have led to rising tensions among locals. Anti-immigrant sentiment has grown in recent years, with far-right political parties gaining support. These groups argue that the country cannot sustain the continued arrival of migrants, especially given Greece's ongoing economic struggles. While Greece's government has implemented stricter border controls and deportation policies, these measures have sparked criticism from human rights organizations. Many accuse the country of violating international laws by pushing back asylum seekers at sea. Tourists and expats often report mixed experiences. While urban areas like Athens are generally more tolerant, rural regions can be less welcoming, particularly toward non-Europeans. Despite these challenges, Greece's rich history and warm hospitality toward visitors remain a draw for many. However, the divide between locals and migrants continues to shape the country's social fabric. As Greece grapples with balancing its humanitarian obligations and domestic concerns, the nation's attitude toward outsiders remains a contentious issue. Number 9. Hungary. Hungary, situated in the heart of Europe, has earned a reputation for its strict stance on immigration. In 2025, the country continues to prioritize national identity over multiculturalism, making it one of the least welcoming nations for outsiders. The Hungarian government, led by nationalist leaders, has implemented some of the toughest border controls in Europe. The construction of border fences and the deployment of security forces have made it nearly impossible for asylum seekers to enter the country. According to Human Rights Watch, Hungary has been criticized for its treatment of migrants, including reports of detainment and inhumane conditions. The government argues that these measures are necessary to protect its culture and security. Public opinion in Hungary largely aligns with the government's stance. Surveys show that a significant portion of the population believes immigration poses a threat to the country's traditional values. Expats and tourists in Hungary often report a mixed reception. While cities like Budapest are more cosmopolitan, rural areas can be less accepting, particularly of non-European immigrants. Despite these challenges, Hungary remains a popular destination for travelers drawn to its history and architecture. However, those looking to settle permanently may face significant hurdles. Hungary's resistance to outsiders reflects its broader political agenda, which prioritizes sovereignty and national pride over integration. Number 8. Italy. Italy, with its picturesque landscapes and rich history, has become increasingly divided over its approach to immigration. In 2025, the country is grappling with significant challenges related to migrants arriving via the Mediterranean. The southern regions of Italy, particularly Sicily and Lampedusa, serve as key entry points for asylum seekers. According to European Border and Coast Guard Agency, Italy has seen a surge in arrivals, leading to overcrowded reception centers and strained public resources. Anti-immigrant rhetoric has gained traction, fueled by political parties advocating for stricter border controls and deportation policies. Many locals feel that the government has not done enough to address the impact of immigration on jobs and housing. In major cities like Rome and Milan, tensions between locals and immigrant communities occasionally flare up. Non-European migrants often report experiencing discrimination, particularly in employment and housing. Tourists generally enjoy Italy's warm hospitality, but expats seeking long-term residency may find it challenging to integrate, especially in rural areas where traditional values prevail. Despite these issues, Italy's rich cultural heritage and economic opportunities in sectors like tourism and fashion continue to attract people from around the world. As Italy balances its humanitarian obligations with domestic pressures, the nation's attitude toward outsiders remains a topic of heated debate. Number 7. Poland. Poland, a country steeped in history and tradition, has taken a hardline stance on immigration in recent years. In 2025, the nation's resistance to outsiders remains firmly rooted in its political and cultural landscape. The Polish government has consistently opposed EU-led initiatives to distribute asylum seekers among member states. Leaders argue that accepting large numbers of migrants would threaten national security and cultural identity. According to Amnesty International, Poland has faced criticism for its treatment of migrants at its borders, particularly those from the Middle East and Africa. Reports of pushbacks and harsh conditions in detention centers have drawn international attention. Public sentiment in Poland largely supports the government's position. Surveys show that many Poles view immigration as a threat to the country's stability, particularly in the wake of recent geopolitical tensions. Expats in Poland often report a mixed experience. While urban centers like Warsaw and Krakow are more open to diversity, smaller towns can be less accepting of outsiders, particularly non-Europeans. Poland's economy, driven by industries like technology and manufacturing, continues to attract foreign workers. However, navigating bureaucratic hurdles and cultural differences can be challenging for those seeking to settle. As Poland prioritizes national sovereignty over EU integration efforts, its approach to immigration remains a source of contention both domestically and internationally. Number 6. France. France, often celebrated for its art, culture, and history, is also a country where attitudes toward outsiders have become increasingly polarized. In 2025, debates over immigration and integration continue to dominate public discourse. The country has long been a destination for immigrants from North Africa, the Middle East, and Sub-Saharan Africa, drawn by its colonial ties and economic opportunities. However, rising unemployment and social tensions have fueled anti-immigrant sentiment in many parts of France. According to Statista, nearly 60% of French citizens believe immigration poses a challenge to national identity. Far-right political movements have capitalized on these fears, pushing for stricter border controls and reduced immigration quotas. Urban areas like Paris and Marseille have vibrant immigrant communities, but they are also hotspots for racial and cultural tensions. Many migrants report facing discrimination in housing, employment, and public services. The French government has taken steps to tighten immigration policies, including stricter visa requirements and deportation measures. Critics argue that these policies exacerbate social divides rather than address underlying issues. Despite these challenges, France's global appeal remains strong. Tourists and expats are drawn to its rich culture, excellent healthcare, and high standard of living, though integrating into French society can be a complex process. As France struggles to balance its values of liberty, equality, and fraternity with growing nationalist pressures, its relationship with outsiders remains a contentious topic. Number 5. Austria. Austria, a land of alpine beauty and classical music, has become known for its firm stance on immigration. In 2025, the country continues to grapple with questions of identity and integration, often to the detriment of outsiders. The migrant crisis of the 2010s left a lasting impact on Austria, with many citizens expressing concerns over the cultural and economic effects of immigration. According to Pew Research Center, a majority of Austrians believe the country should reduce immigration levels. Far-right political parties have gained traction by advocating for stricter immigration controls and emphasizing the preservation of Austrian culture. This rhetoric has influenced government policies, leading to tougher asylum regulations and deportation practices. Immigrants, particularly those from non-European countries, often face significant challenges in Austria. Discrimination in housing and employment is common, and integration programs are limited in scope. While cities like Vienna are more cosmopolitan and welcoming, rural areas can be less tolerant of outsiders. Non-European immigrants in these regions often report feeling isolated and unwelcome. Despite its conservative stance on immigration, Austria remains a popular destination for tourists and expats drawn by its quality of life and scenic landscapes. However, long-term residents often face cultural and systemic barriers to integration. Austria's approach to outsiders reflects its desire to maintain a distinct national identity, but it also underscores the tensions between globalization and traditionalism. Number 4. Switzerland. Switzerland, famous for its neutrality and stunning landscapes, is also known for its strict immigration policies. In 2025, the country continues to prioritize protecting its cultural identity, often at the expense of welcoming outsiders. Switzerland has one of the highest proportions of foreign residents in Europe, yet its immigration system remains highly selective. According to Swiss Federal Statistics Office, the majority of immigrants come from neighboring European countries, with non-Europeans facing stricter requirements. Public referendums on immigration frequently highlight the divide between urban and rural populations. While cities like Zurich and Geneva are more open to diversity, rural areas are often resistant to new arrivals. Political parties advocating for tighter immigration controls have gained significant support. Campaigns often emphasize concerns about overpopulation, resource strain, and cultural dilution. Non-European immigrants often face difficulties integrating into Swiss society. Language barriers, limited work opportunities, and strict naturalization processes make long-term settlement challenging. Switzerland's strong economy and excellent quality of life continue to attract skilled professionals, but navigating the bureaucracy and societal expectations can be daunting. The country's stance on outsiders reflects its commitment to self-determination and tradition, but it also raises questions about inclusivity in an increasingly interconnected world. Number 3. Denmark. Denmark, often ranked as one of the happiest countries in the world, has a surprisingly strict stance on immigration. In 2025, its policies and public attitudes toward outsiders reveal a growing tension between its progressive image and nationalist priorities. The Danish government has introduced some of Europe's toughest immigration laws, including mandatory integration tests and strict residency requirements. According to the local Denmark, non-European immigrants face significant barriers to obtaining permanent residency or citizenship. Anti-immigrant rhetoric has gained traction in Danish politics, with parties emphasizing the need to protect the welfare state and preserve Danish culture. This has led to public support for policies that limit immigration and tighten asylum rules. Many immigrants report feeling unwelcome in Denmark, particularly those from Muslim-majority countries. Discrimination in housing and employment is a persistent issue, despite the country's reputation for equality. Copenhagen, the capital, is more cosmopolitan and accepting, but rural areas can be less tolerant of diversity. Cultural differences and language barriers often complicate integration for newcomers. Despite these challenges, Denmark's excellent healthcare, education, and work-life balance continue to attract skilled professionals. However, the social and legal hurdles can make settling in Denmark a daunting prospect. Denmark's approach to outsiders reflects its desire to maintain a cohesive society, but it also highlights the difficulties of balancing national identity with inclusivity. Number 2. United Kingdom. The United Kingdom, once a beacon for global migration, has seen a significant shift in attitudes toward outsiders since Brexit. In 2025, debates over immigration and national identity remain at the forefront of public and political discourse. Brexit reshaped the UK's immigration policies, making it harder for EU citizens to live and work in the country. Non-European immigrants also face stricter visa requirements and lengthy bureaucratic processes, according to UK Home Office. Anti-immigrant rhetoric has become more prominent, with political parties emphasizing the need to control borders and prioritize British citizens. This has fueled a rise in nationalist sentiments and increased hostility toward immigrants in some communities. Cities like London remain multicultural hubs, but smaller towns and rural areas often display less tolerance for diversity. Non-European immigrants in these areas frequently report experiencing discrimination and social exclusion. The UK's economy, heavily reliant on international talent, faces challenges as stricter immigration policies reduce the pool of skilled workers. Industries like healthcare and hospitality have been particularly affected. Despite the hurdles, the UK's world-class education system and economic opportunities continue to attract students and professionals from around the globe. However, integration can be a lengthy and challenging process. The UK's stance on immigration reflects its ongoing struggle to balance sovereignty with global engagement, leaving many outsiders feeling unwelcome. Number 1. Russia. Russia tops the list as the European country most resistant to outsiders in 2025. Long-standing political and cultural factors have shaped the nation's restrictive approach to immigration and integration. The Russian government has implemented strict immigration policies, particularly targeting non-Slavic migrants. According to Migration Policy Institute, migrants from Central Asia and the Caucasus face significant hurdles, including limited work permits and strict residency requirements. Public sentiment in Russia often aligns with the government's stance. Surveys reveal that a majority of Russians view immigration as a threat to national security and cultural cohesion, particularly in light of ongoing geopolitical tensions. Discrimination against non-European immigrants is widespread, with reports of racial profiling and xenophobic attacks. These challenges make it difficult for outsiders to feel safe or accepted in Russian society. Moscow and St. Petersburg, while more diverse, are not immune to these issues. Immigrants in these cities often face barriers to employment and housing, as well as social exclusion. Despite its vast size and economic potential, Russia struggles to attract and retain foreign talent. Many skilled professionals are deterred by the bureaucratic hurdles and hostile environment. Russia's approach to outsiders reflects its focus on preserving national identity and sovereignty, but it also highlights the country's challenges in adapting to a globalized world. While Europe is often celebrated for its diversity, these 10 countries reveal the complexities and tensions surrounding immigration and integration in 2025. From political rhetoric to societal attitudes, the challenges faced by outsiders in these nations are a reflection of broader global trends. Which country on this list surprised you the most? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and explore Globe Discoveries for more insights into our ever-changing world. Thank you for watching.